right? So the topic what we are going to be dealing with today, it's called as control statements. Now, what exactly you mean by control statements? So control statement represents the flow of the program. So normally when we write a program, how does the execution happens? Line by line. Say for example, you have a function. Okay, this is my program. Inside this, I'm having a couple of more statements. This is my program. So what will happen when I execute this? Always, the program's execution starts from the main function. Okay, so program's execution is going to start from here. Then, once it goes inside the main method, line by line execution. Please remember, line by line only it is going to execute my program. So when I'm going to run it, see how the output comes. First hello world, followed by welcome to Java. Enjoy learning. All the best. So this is how a normal flow of a program is going to happen. Line by line execution. So every program is going to be considered line by line. Now, if I want to change the flow, if the flow of the program needs to be modified, that is, for example, okay, I'm saying I'm going to give a condition. Based on that condition, the output of the program should come. Say a simple example, voting age. I want you to prepare a program for voting eligibility. So what is it I'm asking you to do? Get the age of the user. So then, if the age is greater than 18 years, you're going to say, yes, you're eligible to vote and whatever other code needs to be done. But if it is less than 18, then we just have to print, no, you're not eligible to vote and terminate the program. So here, the entire program, what you're going to write is never going to be executed. Only a part of the program based on the condition I am going to execute. So that means what? I am changing the normal line, normal flow of the program. Normally, all the lines of code written in a program is going to get executed. One by one, line by line, it is going to go. So here we are going to modify that. So that is for the doing that, I am going to make use of my control statements. So that is one example. So the other example I can say that I started liking Java so much that I want to print I love Java 1,000 times. Imagine 1,000 print statements where you're going to say system.out.println I love Java, system.out.println I love Java. By the time you finish all the 1,000 statements, you'll go mad. Right. So I have a set of statements that need to be repeated again and again. Again, control statements. So for that purpose also, we will go for control statements. That is, first thing is based on some decision. I want something to happen. Or I want a particular piece of code to be repeated again and again. Or I can say, I want to jump from one part of the program to another. Say from line 5, I have to jump to line 20. So from in between lines, I have to skip. In between lines, I don't want to execute. Directly from this line, I want to go to some other line in my program. So for all these things involve modifying the normal execution. Normal execution of a program is modified here. So for any of these kind of things, I will be making use of something called as control statements. So in Java, Control statements are categorized into three types, or I can say three categories. So control statements are divided into three categories. The first category, we call it as decision making statements. Decision making statements. Or another name we call it conditional statements. Conditional statements. Now, as the name suggests, decision making, conditional. So that means I am going to specify certain condition, and based on how the condition is going to pan out. That is, if the condition is going to be true or if the condition is going to be false. So based on that, I am going to build the execution of a program. That is how my decision making statements will be working. Right. The second category what I have is looping statements, loops or looping statements, which is also known as which is also known as iterative statements, iterations. So when will I go for looping? Whenever I want a particular statement or a particular piece of code to be repeated n number of times. I want the same code to be repeated again and again. Then I will be going for this option of looping or iterative statements. The third option what I have is my jump statements. Jump statements. As the name suggests, jump. So jump from one part of the code to another part. So that is the purpose of my jump statements. So these are the three different ways of classifying my control statements in Java. Right, so this is a three classification. So this is a three classifications. Now, how to internally do it? How to internally write the code for it? What am I supposed to make use of? So for that, please remember, decision making statements are of two types. You can write the decision making statements in two different ways. So two ways of writing it. So there are two ways of writing a decision making statements. So what are the two ways? So the first way is using the keywords. I'm going to call it as if else statements. So using the two keywords if else. The second way of doing it is using switch case. Using the switch case statements. So what are the two ways of doing it? One is using different variations. Okay, using different variations of my if else. So if is a keyword, else is a keyword. So using different variations of it. So different variations of it means what? One, using only if, then using if else, then making use of if, else if, and else. First one is using only the if keyword. Next one is using the if and the else keyword. Third one is if, else keywords. Then I have something called as nested if else. Nested means what? Writing one inside the other. So, like this, there are so many variations, and all these things are based on the if conditions, if else conditions only. Based on this only, we are writing it in so many different manner. Then, of course, you have the switch case. Switch case is writing it in only one way. There is no different ways for switch case, only one thing. So this is how I will be writing my decision making or my conditional statements. So whenever you are having a condition, condition can be written in two ways. One is using if else, other one is using switch case. So if else can be used in so many different forms or different variations. Right. Next thing is my looping or my iterative statements. Please remember, looping is classified into two types. Loops are classified into two types. So what are the two types of my loops? Number one, entry controlled loops. Entry controlled loops. Second one is exit control loop. So whenever you're going to be writing loops, okay, so whenever I'm going to be creating a loop can be classified into these two categories. So one, we call it as an entry control loop. The second one, we call it as an exit control loop. Now, as the name suggests, entry, exit. Entry control loop means, first thing, what did I say loop is for? Whenever I want to execute some statements repeatedly, whenever I want to execute it again and again, then I will be going for the loops. So I have a set of statement that needs to be repeated. But when the loop should be repeated, entry control loop, how it works? First, the condition is going to be tested. First, the condition is going to be tested. If the condition is satisfied, so if the condition is true, then whatever statements you are giving, it will be repeated once. After repeating the statements, once again the condition is going to be tested. If the condition is still true, okay, once again it will repeat. So after each and every repetition, after repeating the lines of code, then the condition is going to be tested. If the condition is satisfied, once again it will start the process. So this will keep on going as a cyclic process. So first condition check, condition satisfied, statement execute. Again condition check, condition is satisfied, again execute the statements. Again check the condition, again execute the statement. Like this, it is going to keep on happening until the condition becomes false. Once the condition becomes false, it will not go further inside at all. That is how our entry controlled loop will be working. For example, okay, let us try to understand this concept with a real time scenario. Let us say there is a good movie in the theater which you want to go and watch. So, what is the process of watching my movie? I have a movie, I want to go and watch it in the theater. So, how am I going to go about it? First thing is, I have to check whether it is available. So, if it is available, I have to book the tickets. So, as soon as I book the tickets, can I go directly inside the theater and sit? No, there is this person who will be standing outside the hall. So I have to show him the tickets. Either if I booked online, I have to show him my printed copy or the mobile, whatever it is. Or if I'm purchasing it directly, then I have to show him the ticket stubs. So I have to show the ticket to this person. Then the person will validate. That is my condition checking. Validate whether it is a proper ticket or not. Is it for this show? Is it for today? Everything he is going to check. And if the ticket is valid, he will allow you to go inside and sit. What is the task here? What is the repeated task here? Watching the movie. Watching the movie is my task. So, first, what is the entry control process? I said your ticket validation is your entry control process. So, if that condition is true or if that condition is satisfied, what is the task? Task is watching the movie. The task is going to be done. Now, you like the movie a lot. You want to see it again. Can you go with the same ticket? No. Once again, you have to purchase the ticket. So now that he has seen you, will that person ask you to go inside directly? No. Once again, he will check whether your ticket is valid or not. So the task of us is watching the movie. No matter how many times you want to repeat the task, condition has to be tested. And what is the condition? You should have a valid ticket to watch the movie. So every time entry controlled process. Only if the condition is satisfied, you will be going inside and doing the work. If the condition is not satisfied, work will not be done at all. That is how our entry controlled loop will be working. Then, of course, you have the exit control loop. Exit control. As the name suggests, exit means what? When you're going to come out. Exit is coming out, right? So, condition is going to be tested only when you're coming out. At the time of exit only, the condition is going to be tested. If the condition is true, loop will be repeated. If the condition is false, loop will stop its execution. That is what you mean by an exit control loop. Now, let us try to understand that also with an example. Let us say today is your birthday. Okay, I'm just hypothetically speaking. Assume today is your birthday. So you have asked all of your friends, say, come, let us go out for dinner. It is my treat. So what do you guys do? You all of you go to a restaurant. I'm not talking about the fast food centers or anything like that. I'm talking about a proper restaurant. So you're going, you're sitting, the waiter is coming, he is giving you the menu card. So you are going to be looking at the menu card and you're going to be ordering the food. Right. So once you order the food, what happens? The food comes to your table. Then what is the task you have come here to do? Eating. So the task of this process is eating. And that process is first initially itself is done. So eating is completed. After finishing eating, what is our condition checking? Whether you have the money or not. Whether you have the money or not to pay the bill. So your condition is checked only at the end of the process. So if the condition is satisfied, that is, if you have the money, you can pay your bill happily, right? So you can come out of the restaurant anytime after that you want, you can keep going to the restaurant. It's like a loop. Yes, next time you can go to the same place. Done. If you don't have the money, if the condition is false, you forgot your purse or something happened. So then, yes, that is our exit control loop. So exit control loop means the loop's condition is always going to be checked only at the end. So after completing the task, as I said, what is loop? Loop is used to execute some task repeatedly. So it is going to complete the task the first time, then it is going to check the condition. If the condition is true, the task will be repeated again. Otherwise, it will be stopped. So one important difference between the entry control loop and the exit control loop. In an entry control loop, if your condition is failed, loop body will not get executed even once. Loop will not get executed even once. But in an exit control loop, even when the condition is false, loop will get executed once at least. See, our condition of having money is false, but still our task is completed. What did you go to the restaurant for? Eating. The task is completed. So that is what I said. When it is an exit control loop, even if the condition is false, one time at least the loop will get executed. So further execution depends on the condition. So if the condition is satisfied, further executions will happen. So that is the difference between an entry control loop and an exit control loop for us. Now, how to write? Entry control loop can be written using while loop, and we have the for loop. So these are the two types of loops, and both of these loops are entry controlled loop. That is, the working style is same. Working style is similar. For an exit control loop, I have do while. I have do while loop. So this is my exit control loop. So this is the looping concept of my Java. So Java supports both the type. It has the entry control also, it has the exit control also. So if you are going to create an entry control loop, you can create it either using a while loop or a for loop. And when you want to create an exit control loop, you can use the do while loop and do it. Right. And the third part of your control statements is my jump statements. So as I already said, jump statements. Jump means what? Jumping from one part of the program to another. So that is achieved with the help of some keywords. First one is we call it as a break. The second keyword, continue. The third keyword, go to. And the fourth keyword, return. So these are the different keywords that we have under the jump statements. So overall, together, all these things is what your control statements are all about. So now let us get to know about each and everything in detail. When to use it, how to use it with a small example. Right. So let us start first with our decision making statements. In that, we are going to be discussing about the if condition. So the syntax for this is if within parenthesis, you have to mention the condition. If this condition is true, what should I do? Then close the block. This is how I will be making use of the if condition. So when will I use the if keyword? Whenever you want to check any condition. Okay, I want to see whether the condition is true or false. So whenever you're planning to check any condition, I will be making use of this if keyword. If within the parenthesis, you are going to mention the condition. If this condition is true, then whatever statements you give inside of this block, any number of statements, whatever you're asking, that will get executed. Okay, if the condition is false, nothing will happen. If the condition is false, nothing will happen. It will not go inside at all. It will go inside this block only when this condition is true. Say, for example, let us take an example. Okay, so I am creating a variable here. I am saying int age. Okay, then let us create our scanner class. You are already familiar how to do it. Done. Right now, I am saying enter your age. I am asking the user to enter the age. See what I'm saying? Now I'm saying age is equal to yes dot next int of. See, this is an integer, so that is what I'm going to be using here. Done. Now I have to write my condition. So what is the syntax I said? If within parenthesis followed by the condition. I am saying if age is greater than 18, then within the block. So within the opening and closing braces, I am saying you are an adult. Slash n. Remember the slash n? You are eligible to vote. This is what I'm trying to print. When if the age is greater than 18. Coming outside of the condition. Okay, coming outside of the condition, I am going to say system.out.println. You are a minor. So, not yet come to voting age. I'm just giving some message like this. You have not yet come to the voting age, like this message is given. Now, I'm going to run this program. See what happens. I am giving the age here as 25. I'm going to give the age here as 25. See, sorry. Run this first. Let us give the age as 10. See what happens. You are a minor, not yet come to voting age. It is working properly. But what happens when I give the age as proper? See what happens if I am giving 25 here. You are an adult. You are eligible to vote. Perfect. But at the same time, it is also printing you are a minor, not yet come to voting age. So what is happening here? Or how does the if condition going to be working? So please understand it's very, very important. So what happens here is if this condition is true, then it is going to go here and execute the statement. What will happen after it finishes this execution? It is going to come to the next line following the closing curly braces. Please remember, once this if block is completed, the control will automatically come to the next line following the if block. So what is the next line following the if block? It says you are a minor. So that is why it is executing this also. Now what happens if the condition is false? If I am giving the age as 10, it is checking here 10 greater than 18. No, 10 is not greater than 18. So this condition is false. So once when this condition is false, it will not go inside at all. Automatically, it will go to the next line. That is why it is working properly. Okay, so what changes should I make to this program? Is Once this line is executed, you say system dot exit. System dot exit. Exit will make your program come out of the execution. That is, it will terminate the program. It is going to terminate the program's execution. For example, run this now. Give the same age 25. See what is the output now. So whatever your if block is saying, it is going to execute that statement and then it is going to come out of the program. It is going to terminate the program itself. So terminate the program means what? It will not come to this line at all. So this is how you have to be working if you are using only if condition. Because if condition, what is the purpose of it? When this condition is satisfied, what needs to be done? That is all you are going to say when you are using the if condition separately. Right. So now let us try another program. Okay, let us try one more program. So I'm going to say A, B, C. Right. Then let us get the other numbers also. Okay. So I have got three numbers. I have got all the three numbers. Now, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to form my condition. I am saying if A is greater than B and if A is greater than C, then I am saying A is the greatest number. When I'm going for this, A variable should be greater than the B value also. A variable should be greater than the C value also. So if both of these conditions, remember our logical AND operator. So if both of these conditions is satisfied, then the result is true. So if the result is true, whatever you're writing inside the if condition is going to be working. Otherwise, another if B greater than A and B greater than C. If this is the case, then say B is the greatest. Otherwise, another if, check for all the conditions. So what will happen? First time program will check for this condition. If this condition is satisfied, then it will go inside. Otherwise, where it is going to go? To the next line following the if block. So next line following the if block is another condition. So that is going to be verified here. So I'm going to say C greater than A and C greater than B. If this is satisfied, then you say C is the greatest. So like this, you can also test individual conditions. So now when I run this, see what happens, asking me for the first number. Okay. Second number. Okay. Third number. Done. See what it says. B is the greatest. Why? Because the second condition is being satisfied. So whichever condition is satisfied, that statement alone is going to get executed for us. So that is how our if statement is going to be working. Right. So now the next variation, what you can see in this is our if else statement. The next variation, what you are going to be seeing in this is if else. If else statement. So what is this if else? If else means if condition you are saying when the condition is true, then we can add an else part. So in the else part, you will say statements that needs to be executed when the condition is false. So when the given condition is false, Then what should I do? I'm going to specify the condition here. If this condition is true, if will get executed. What will happen if this condition is false? That is why you are using the else part. That is the reason we are using the else. So inside the else, you will give all the false conditions. Now please remember, else does not have any parenthesis, nothing. And most importantly, you should not have any statement in between if else. If should always be followed by the else, or rather to say, else block must always have a previous if. Otherwise, it is a problem. See, I showed you this where we were using if individually accepted, but it is not possible for us to use the else individually. Every time when you're writing an else statement, it should definitely have a previous if. On top of it, it should be having an if condition. Otherwise, your compiler will generate errors. If you have any statements in between if else like this is an error. It is not accepted. So please remember, nothing should be present inside the between the if and else. It should be continuous like this. Right. Now, where to use the if else conditions? Some examples. You can modify the same age program itself. Right, the same age program we had. That age program itself we can modify with your else part. So let us make that changes. There you go. This is back to my original program. So here what I'm having only if. I have to force this exit of 0. Okay, now what if I have some more statements here to execute? At that time I cannot exit. Here for this program, exit may work, but not always. If I have some more logic written after this, then exit is not a proper way of writing. That is the reason why you are having the else part. So when the condition is true, what should you do? Else. Add the else part. Else, if the condition is false, what should I do? That will be coming here for us. See? If followed by the else. Now when I run this program, see what happens. I am giving 25. So you are an adult eligible to vote. Now let us run this again. If I am giving the age as 10, see, you're a minor, not yet come to voting age. So whatever be the thing, at that time, only one part of the program is going to get executed based on this condition, either the if or the else. You cannot execute both. So either if or else. This is how your program flow will happen. Right. So this is an example of if else condition. Okay. There are lot of more situations where I will use the if else condition. For example, let us say int num. I'm going to ask the user to enter a number. So let us just say enter a number. Now, number, I'm going to get it, store it inside this variable. Now, how to write my if else condition? First thing, let us see if the given number is positive or negative. I want to find out if the given number is a positive number or a negative number. Now, we already know if the num is greater than 0, it is always considered as positive. Greater than or even equal to 0 also sometimes they say. So it is always considered as a positive number. If it is not, it is a negative number. So simple condition, what you're going to say? If num greater than or equal to 0, then system.out.println num is a positive number. So else, otherwise, if this condition is false, what should happen? Else, system dot println, it is a negative number. Now, please remember, if the condition has only one single statement to get executed, I have only one single statement, curly braces is optional. When you have more than one statement, then you have to put the curly braces. So here, since it has only one statement, I'm not using the curly braces. Now, run this. Asking you to enter the number. I'm saying 25. See what it says. 25 is a positive number. Yes, it is greater than 0. No. When I say minus 87, I'm saying minus 87. See what it says. It is a negative number. So at a time, based on this condition, it is going to execute either this statement or this statement. Right, same way. For example, let us say even or odd number. So I have taken the num value. I have to find out whether the num is even or odd. So what is the condition? When will you say a number is a even number? When I divide it by 2 and if there is no remainder. If the remainder is 0, then we call it as a even number. So which one you want to find? You want to find for num. So if num. Now remember, we already have a modulo operator which will give us the remainder. So what are you going to do? Modulo 2. So when I divide num by 2 and if the remainder of that operation is equal to 0. Now equal to our relational operator. It is going to do the work of comparison. It is going to compare whether the output given by this is same as 0 or not. So if it is same, I'm going to say it is an even number. Else, else, you can always say it is an odd number. Let us run it again. This time I am giving the value as 87. See what it says. 87 is a positive number and also 87 is an odd number. Now run the program again. This time I am giving minus 10. See, minus 10 is a negative number, but minus 10 is an even number. So when I say 10 divided by 2, it is a clean division. 5 times it goes, no remainder. Hence, it is going to say it is an even number. Right. So this is how I will be making use of my if else conditions. So whenever I have a condition to check, based on that condition, if it is true, program should go in one way. If the condition is false, program should go in some other way. So for doing such type of things, you will be using if and else keywords. Okay, I can show you one more example. Let us take one more example. I am saying enter a character. So enter a single character. A character means what? Only one character I am asking you to enter. And I am going to store that inside char ch is equal to s dot next dot, remember, caret 0. How to store a character variable? Remember we discussed in the classes. So this is how I'm going to be storing the value. Right. So now I want to check if the character, if the character is if the character is equal to a. or if the character is equal to E or CH equal to I vowels O and U. So, or what is or condition? If any one of this condition is true also, it is going to give the result as true. Remember, or any one condition. I don't have to, everything need not be true for me. Any one condition is satisfied also. It is going to say the result as true. Now look at this one. There I did it for small case letters. I am now checking for uppercase letters also. I am asking the user to give enter a character, but I don't know how he is going to give. How he or she is going to give is, are they going to give it an uppercase letter or lowercase letter? Let us be more specific. I'm saying enter an alphabet. Okay. So if the given alphabet is A, I, O, U in lowercase, or if it is A, I, O, U in uppercase, then I am going to be saying system.out.println CH is a vowel. Else, if this condition, if none of the condition is satisfied, then what I'm going to do? Else, I'm going to say CH is a consonant. Now let us run this. Give run file. Okay, this is for the first ones. Okay, this is for the positive and negative. I mean, and also odd and even. Now look at this one, what we just enter an alphabet. So I am saying W. W does not satisfy any of the if condition. It is not A, E, I, O, U. It is not lowercase, uppercase, anything. See what is getting executed. W is a consonant. If the if condition is true only, it is going to execute that block. Otherwise, it is going to execute the else block. See, alphabet, I am saying now E. See, this is how you will be handling your if else statements. So when the condition, I'm checking here whether it is a vowel or an consonant. Like this, we can do many programs. Many things are there based on our if else. So for example, to find the greatest of two numbers, let us say I want you to write a program to find the greatest of two numbers. So let us say int a is equal to sc dot s, right, s dot next int, read the value, say int p is equal to same thing. Okay, let us say here enter the value for a, then store the value in a. Then I'm saying enter the value for b, store it inside b. Okay, done. So now, okay, now see the condition I'm writing. If a greater than b, if the a value is greater than b, then I'm saying system.out.println a is greater than b. So the value of a, whatever it is greater than b. Else, I'm just going to say b is greater than a. So just change the variables here. B is greater than A. Now let us run this. Another usage of the if else condition. Run this. Positive even over character. That is also over. See, enter the value for A. Give some numbers. Enter the value for B. Again give a number. See what it says. So this is greater than this value. So this is how, as I said, different ways of using your if else. It's one of the most commonly used items in our coding is our if else. Right. Okay. Now there is a third form of our if else, which is if, else if, else. The third form, what we are going to be discussing is if, else if, followed by the if. This is the next one. Now, when to use this? When should I go for this type of statements? Let me write the syntax so that you can understand. So, like this, you can keep on going. Last, you will give an else. This is the usage of if, else. So when are you going to go for this type of statement is whenever you have multiple conditions to handle. I am giving user with lot of options. I am giving multiple conditions. I'm saying if any one of this is true, then we will see. So first starting with condition 1. So if condition 1 is true, then it will execute the statement. It will not check for anything else. Okay, if this condition is false, it will go to the next one in the sequence. Remember, by order. It will always come in the order. So if the first one is false, then it will come and check the second one. If the second one is also false, it will come and check the third condition. If this is also false, come and check the fourth condition. Like that, it is going to keep on going until it exhausts all the conditions. So when all the condition fails, none of the condition is satisfied, then it will go for the else part. So given all the conditions, when none of the condition is satisfied, it will come to the else. Otherwise, whichever condition is true, that statement alone will be executed. Okay, whichever statement is true, that alone is going to get executed. Now you may ask, ma'am, where situations do I use this? Which situation can I use this? Now, I told you about one program here, greatest of two numbers. Right, now let me run this code again. So enter the first number. This is for the previous one. Do it. Now, alphabet also, let us do it now. Coming to our greatest of two numbers. I am saying enter the value of A given. Then I'm saying enter the value of B. Right. That's also given. Now what will happen? A is also 10. B is also 10. Appa, what is which is greater? How will you find which is greater? You understand the confusion here. So how did we write our condition? How did we write our condition? If A greater than B. I have given the A value also as what? 10. I have given the B value also what? 10. So how is the condition going to be? 10 greater than 10. Is this condition true? No. 10 is not greater than 10. 10 is not lesser than 10. So this condition is false for me. And whenever the condition is false, what it will go? It will directly go to the else part. Because I have only two conditions here. If or else, that's all. So when this condition is false, automatically it is going to say B is greater than. See, when I run this, what happens? When I give the enter key, see, when I press the enter button, what happens? 10 is greater than 10. Whereas this is not correct. This program is incorrect. So how to solve this? For solving this only, you are going to go for multiple conditions. So what are the possible conditions I can have here? I can have multiple conditions, right? What are the possible conditions? One, A can be greater than B. This is condition number one. Or else, if add the other condition, B can be greater than A. B can be greater than A. And one scenario is this, one scenario is this. If both the conditions are not satisfied, what is the only option left out? Both are equal. Both are equal. That is what you're going to be doing. So what is that I'm going to say? I am going to say A plus equal to plus B. Now let us run this. Okay, let me take out all this. Okay, since we have already executed all this, I'm just taking out. Okay, I'm running only this one. Now execute. So give the number, give the second number, see what it says. N equal to 10. So now what happens? First, it is going to check for this condition. First, it is going to check for this condition, not satisfied. Then come inside, check for this condition. That's also not satisfied. Then it will go to the else part. See what happens now. See, whichever condition is satisfied, only that block's statement is going to get executed for us. So always remember this very clearly. So that is how our if else is going to be working. So whenever we have multiple conditions to handle, we will put the next conditions inside an else if and execute. For example, a common example for your else if programs is our grading system. It's a grading system program. So grading system in the sense, suppose I'm having something like this. Okay, let me write it inside a comment. I'm saying if my mark is between 90 to 100, then my grade is A plus. Then the grade I have secured is A plus. If it is between 80 to 90, then my grade is A. If my mark is between 70 to 80, then my grade is B. If my mark is 60 to 70, then I'm saying my grade is C grade. Then same way, say 50 to 60, then I'm saying grade D. Anything 40 to 50. That also you can give one. Let us call this as D plus. I'm going to call this as D. So anything less than 40, So anything that is going to be lesser than 40, I'm going to say your fail. So for this, I want to write a program. So you have to ask the user to enter their marks. So based on the marks, you have to say what is their grade. So again, multiple conditions. So multiple conditions are followed here. So first condition says, if my mark comes between this range. So how will I write? Let us say you are going to take a variable called marks. You're going to take a variable called marks. Marks is equal to some value. So let us take the value is 98. Okay, this is a code snippet. You have to write the entire program. Okay, how will you write the condition? If marks greater than or equal to 90 and if marks is less than or equal to 100, if it comes in this range, then I'm going to say system.out.println. So I'll say system.out.println grade is A plus. Else if, how to add the second condition? Else if, same way you will write marks greater than or equal to, what is that we have said? 80. So if it comes between this range and marks less than 90. Remember, don't put less than equal to 90. Why? Because 90 is included in this. I'm saying greater than or equal to 90. So 90 is already included in this. So don't include this also. If you do, both the conditions will be satisfied then. So don't do that. So now I'm going to say system.out.println. So the grade what I secured is A. So else if like that, you can keep on adding else if conditions for each and everything. At last, you will have one else. So if none of this condition is satisfied, then it will go to the else and it will say you are failed. So that is where you will use our else if. We call this as also as else if ladder. This format of usage is also called as else if ladder. Ladder means what? You're just going to climb. So one by one, you can give multiple conditions here. So this is another variation how we can make use of. Right. Okay.